Hi, everybody. So it's Sunday night at 6. Just a second here. I got to get a picture up here so I can see. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me. All right. Just a second here. I'm going to write something to make sure I'm getting the... Oh, good, good. People can hear me? Are you able to... You're able to type? Awesome. I can see people's see people's comments, I should say. The second I had somebody ask me how they connect. Had some new people. So I'm letting them know. So how is everybody tonight? Hi, Kathy. Hi, Deb. Hi, Carol. So how is everybody tonight? Isn't it's I've had a very nice day. I've been working on, well, I did some Christmas presents, but then I also been working on my Bella box from the spring. I hadn't done my spring Bella box, so I wanted to do that one before I did the winter one. So I've been working on that. I'll show you some of the projects that I've been working on. So make sure you say something when you come in, that you're hearing me okay. Oh, hi, Jananne. Hi, Clara. Yes, the towels are very, very cute. Good. Everybody's seeing me okay? Great. Yeah, I can't go back to the old Facebook anymore, so it's evidently gone for good now. So I have to figure out how everything works in the new one. So anyway, I am struggling a little bit because everything is in a different place. So, we will figure it out eventually, but I am working at it anyway. But no, I've been working on my Bella box from the spring. And for those of you who don't know what Bella boxes are, Kimberbell does a special box that they sell direct to the public, maybe a couple of times a year. And it is full of really, really cute projects. And this last one had like 7 projects, and I think the one before that had 6 or 7 projects also. Peggy, we are going to do I'm only going to sew out one of the towels tonight. We're going to sew out the one that says sugar and spice make the holidays nice. I'm just going to sew one of them, but then I'll show you how both of them finish up. So, okay. But I was going to show you, this is the first project I did. There was a bullet journal. They call it a bullet journal. And this is the pen pocket, this cute little pen pocket. And it was made with that embroidery leather. I thought that was really cute. That was a fun project. And they give you the little pen in the box too. And then, let's see, I've only done 2 out of that. This is the second one. It's not quite done yet. I've got it drying, but I made the little clasp purse. And this one is the one that goes with that kind of introduced love notes. So this is the little oh, the orange slice rug today. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is the little coin purse that came in the Bella box, and this is the one with the little typewriter. So this kind of went with love notes. Since we're going to do love notes in the winter, I thought it would be fun to show you the little project that I did for love notes today. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Peggy. Oh, hi, Denise. And then let's see. Oh, and then I made this one. This is one you can buy on their stitched site that you can get. This was called My Bloomin' Pen Pocket, and then you can get these really cool bullet journals too. They experience the joy of creativity. So I made this one also. So I've been having fun just making stuff. And then I made this for my dad. This is for Dad for Christmas. And this is one of the Janine Babish designs. These are the ones like we did with the Grateful Heart. This is the same size. So this is a winter one. This is called Hello Winter, and I wanted to make this for my dad for Christmas so he could hang it on his little frame. So anyway, I've been having fun just making things. Yeah, isn't that little purse cute? I just really thought it was darling, and it's done with the pink embroidery leather. But it's not quite dry, so that's why I don't have it shut. I'm just letting it dry, and it had the cute little striped inside. So, but yeah, so this was really fun. So I got this all done, but I just have to let it dry, and I have to kind of clean up I got some of the glue on it, so I have to clean up the little clasp a little bit. So Isn't that cute? So yeah, so I've been busy working on things today. It's nice to spend a Sunday. I like Sundays because I can spend this day at home and then I get to spend my evening with you. So it's pretty exciting. So what we're going to do today is, now remember, this is going to be the last class for the year. Can you believe it? This is the 6th of December. And we do have a Kimberbell Club next weekend. And then then all the classes will be over for the year, so you can all have time for the holidays and to get all your Christmas presents done and everything. And then we'll start up again in January. So in January we will start with for Sew Along with Jan. We'll actually have sessions on software with Jan. It's not the first Sunday; it'll be the second Sunday of January, because there's 5 Sundays, so it'll be the second Sunday, because the first Sunday is like the weekend of the holiday. So I thought, well, let's just wait another week. So it'll be the second Sunday we'll have a software class, and then then the following 3 Sundays, maybe 4, I haven't decided yet, we'll make love notes, that cute little quilt by Kimberbell. And I will do it, and I am going to do it, most of you wanted me to. I'm going to do it both ways. I'm going to quilt it. I'm going to do 2 quilts and 2 wall hangings. So the wall hangings will be done with the stitch as you go, or the quilt as you go method. And the quilts will be done with the quilting as I've done most of it with the Design Center. Okay, so I'm going to do it both ways, but I'm going to make wall hangings for the quilt as you go, and I'm going to do the quilts as the thank you, Colleen. Yeah, January 10th. Yeah, I think the 3rd is the first Sunday. So, and then right after we get done with the love notes, we're going to make purses. I haven't decided which purse I want to do, and then I haven't decided yet what I want to do for February, most of February, but I wanted to have love notes done before Valentine's Day, because it has it's kind of Valentine's-y, so I thought it'd be fun to have a project for Valentine's Day. You know, I often don't do anything for Valentine's Day, so I thought that'd be fun. Do you know where we can get the fabric for love notes? Okay, so this is something I wanted to show everybody, and I've shown everybody this before. Okay, so what I did, and I can get this for you. Love notes, some people, they had a kit, and I got a kit. But the last time I talked to the fabric company, I asked them, are you going to have love notes kits? And he said, oh, if people buy them. Well, that didn't mean yes or no, so I don't really know if I can get it. But this is another option for people. Now, I know this sounds like a lot of money, but I have this wonderful set. I have a few people that want to buy it. This is all of the Kimberbell Basics fabrics, and there is a fat quarter of every single fabric. There's 92 fabrics in here, and I'm not going to lie, this box was $300, but I now have basically every fabric that I need to make love notes. I want to do the gnome pillow, luck of the gnome pillow. I want to do the Easter pillow, so I can go in here and I basically have everything I need to make projects. Very rarely does Kimberbell do you need more than a fat quarter? And if you do, I can normally find the yardage places, but otherwise you got to buy like a whole yard to get what you need for a fat quarter. So this fat quarter box is $299. Tim said I could order them for people. So if you want a box that has all these fabrics, then you'd have a bunch of different fabrics for different classes, for different projects that you're doing with Kimberbell. The fabrics are all darling. You know, so if you want it, text me, email me, and let me know. I'm not going to promise you when it's going to be available. I have to call them and find out. But if you're not in a super hurry, I will be happy to order those boxes for you. And then you can have like all kinds of different fabrics to use. So I was looking at a couple of the new pillow projects that I wanted to do, and I can just pull everything out of there. The only thing I'll have to do is get some fabric for the backing, because everything else was a fat quarter or less for all those projects I want to do. So I figured I can just pull it out of this box. Okay, so it's a Kimberbell Basics box. of fat quarters. There's 92 fat quarters in there, basically one of everything they have. And then you can, and I can order it. Tim said I could do that. He was okay with me ordering these boxes. So I'll mention again at Kimberbell Club. So if you're interested in it, let me know, and I will get them ordered. I have like 3 people already, and I like to have 2 or 3 more people before I order. So if you're interested, let me know. If you're looking for love notes, you might possibly be able to find someone that still has a kit left over when they did it as a mystery quilt in the summer. So you might still be able to find a box. I'm out of them and I can't get them. They're out of stock. So I can't get them right now. Somebody might, if you look online, you might be able to find somebody that has one. You only need like fat 8ths, fat 16ths, and then there's a couple of fat quarters. So this box would actually be, you could get love notes out of this box with the exception of the borders, and then you can just add whatever fabric you want to the borders. So, I'm just going to add a backing to mine. So anyway, that Kimberbell Basics box that has 92 colors or 92 fabrics in it is a really nice deal. I know it sounds like a lot of money at $300, but I bought it just because I do so much Kimberbell, and I would like to be able just to walk over there, grab the color I want, and cut it. So I finally just bit the bullet and did it and ordered it. So okay, so we are going to, with no further ado, as they say, we are going to make this towel. I'm going to sew this towel out tonight. Now this is also a Kimberbell product, these little polka dot towels. They come in a pack that has a striped towel and a polka dot towel. I have these up on the website. I don't have like 30 in stock, but if you want some of these, order them and I will get them ordered, and I know I can get these fairly quickly. So I would have them within a week or so. But you get a polka dot and a striped towel in the same pack. And this is what we're going to make tonight. And then I also sewed out, this is the other towel, and we'll talk about it as well. So this is the other one, and this is done with the Kimberbell white towels. I love their white towels. They have 3 in a package. They're not very expensive. And then I want to show you how I did this little ruching. It's called ruching. This one was done with ribbon. So you can, I'll show you how I made it, and it was done with 1-inch ribbon. Okay, I pre-embroidered my towel for tonight, so I wouldn't have to embroider both of them tonight. But this is the one I did. So I thought they turned out just darling. There are also, and just as a reminder, these are projects that are in the back of the We Whisk You a Merry Christmas book. And they have 2 more projects. There's also an apron and a set of placemats in the back. So I didn't have time to get them all done. I thought, well, we'll do the towels, and then I might go back and do the other ones like in July or something, because I thought they were so cute. But most of the books for the quilts have, you know, multiple small projects in the back, and they are adorable. I try to do as many of them as I can with every quilt that I've done. So anyway, so we're gonna do this one tonight, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the hooping and stuff. I ran into a problem. So in the instructions, it tells you to use wash away as your stabilizer, which would mean like Wet and Gone or Sew and Wash, which is the Dime product. Wet and Gone is Floriani, and it is the water soluble. So I did my first one like that. I had a gut feeling about it that it was going to be wrinkly. Well, it was. So I have this thing about making towels with water soluble, because when you remove the stabilizer, which of course you have to dip whatever you're doing to get rid of it, then there is no stabilizer. I mean, the stabilizer is completely gone. And this was my first try, and I don't know if you can see this, but it was pretty wrinkly, and I could not get that applique patch to look nice. I thought it looked wrinkly. I mean, you can't really see it as much on the camera. If you see it in person, it's very wrinkly. So I didn't finish this towel. But of course, you know, there's no stabilizer on the back. Okay, and you can kind of see how wrinkly it is by looking at the back of it. Can you see how wrinkly it is? Because no matter what you do, it's still wrinkly because there's no stabilizer. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of making tea towels with water soluble. What I like to use, and let me show you now the other one. This one I did with the water soluble also because I did them both, and I thought, well, I'm just going to try it. That's how they say to do it. Well, this one's okay, but as you can see, there's no stabilizer on the back, which is fine. But this one also, there is very little stitching on it. It's not as much. It was in a 4x4 hoop. And then if you look, also, this had some glitter vinyl on the front. So you iron that glitter vinyl down to the towel. So my applique then is not wrinkly because it's adhered to the towel. So this actually worked out okay with the water soluble. I did not care for the one with the great big square applique on it. So what I usually use with tea towels, just so you know, and a lot of you ask me this question, what I usually use with applique towels or with tea towels is I like to use, there's two products. This is actually what they call tear and wash. This is the dime stabilizer, and the Floriani version of it's called Stitch and Wash. And what it is a tear-away stabilizer that has a wash-away property. It does not completely wash away, because when it's under stitches, it stays in there, okay? But you can tear away as much of it as you possibly can, and then when you wash the towel, more and more of the stabilizer that is visible comes off. So I use this for all my towels, like those recipe towels I've made over the years. This is what I use. And then they also have a fusible version of it. So Floriani's is called Fusible Stitch and Wash, and then, or Stitch and Wash Fusible, and then the dime is called Fuse and Tear. And those are the two that I normally use when I make tea towels. I like this better because it stays under the stitches. I pull as much of it off as I can possibly pull, and then it washes away as I wash the towels. So what is the Floriani name? The Floriani name is called Stitch and Wash, and Fusible, Stitch and Wash Fusible, if you want a fusible. The dime is called Tear and Wash, and that's what this actually is. I just put this band on it because that's what I had, but this is actually the Tear and Wash. And I really like this. This works really well, and it's more stable. So that's what I'm using tonight. Instead of the water soluble, I am using the Tear and Wash. I'm not using the fusible. It's not really necessary. These towels are fairly stiff, so I don't really need to use the fusible. When I make tea towels with the recipes, I always fuse something. Could you use the same for an apron? Yes, you could. Yes. And sometimes, I don't know what Kimberbell likes to use the water soluble for everything, and there's certain things that I just feel like you need to have stabilizer, because like if I were to wash this towel here, if I would wash this, it would be in a ball when I took it out of the washing machine. You know? What are those stabilizer labels made out of? They are made out of, Judy made those for me. They're made with felt. She sewed what the name of the thing was, and then they have those slap bracelets that they're like metal bracelets that you slap on your wrist. That's what it is. She made those years. I've had those for years. I bet she made those over 10 years ago for me. I love them. And now I need her to make me some that have the dime names on them. She's got the I don't know where she got the design. It might have been free. I'll ask her, because I doubt she's on here tonight, but I will ask her, Denise. Yeah, they're really great. Okay, so that's my first tip. I did not use the water soluble. Okay, I would also use it on the when I did my second. Let me show you my second little towel. I sewed out the little gingerbread man again. So here's my tearaway. My tear and wash on the back. I just haven't taken it off yet. I wanted you to see it. So this is a tear and wash instead. I think it's going to be more stable. I can get most of it off, and then as you wash it, it will wash away, and it gets very, very soft, and it comes off. So it's not that noticeable. So I just feel like they stay more stable, and then they don't roll up in a ball when you wash them. So, okay. So what I have done next is I have, what it tells you in the instructions to do is to fold your towel. You'll have to iron these up pretty well. Fold them in half, lengthwise, and then you're going to press it. I don't know if you can see my lines. I think you can on the camera. You can see my line here. So I put my wrong sides together, and I pressed in the center vertical line. Okay. Then you measure from the bottom up 5 inches. And then you're going to press in another line. Now, hopefully you can see it. You can see the other line there. And then when I have hooped this with my tearaway on the back, I have lined up those lines that I pressed in with the little center markings on my hoop. Okay? So it's pretty straightforward. It's very hard for me to hoop at the machine, so that's why I went ahead and hooped this in advance. I need to tighten this a little bit so it won't pop out. So it's just hard for me to hoop without standing up. So I went ahead and did this. So can you see how I hooped that? I went up 5 inches from the bottom and pressed in the second pressing, and the other one is down the center vertically. Okay? So that's where you place it. Then we're going to go ahead and put this in the machine. And I just love these towels. Aren't the towels cute? They have a whole gob of colors now. They have teal and yellow and blue and the red, and I think they have, oh my gosh, I think they have like 6 or 8 colors now. So they're all these darling towels. All right, so we'll move this around here. So I put this in the machine. This is in a 5x7 hoop. Okay, got that in the machine. I have my design chosen here on my machine, and it fits in the 5x7. But no, Denise, I'll try to remember to ask Judy where she got that design. It's been years since she's had it. She probably remembers though. Okay. Then the other thing you need for this project is you need some white glitter vinyl and some brown glitter vinyl. Now, the brown glitter vinyl is very hard right now to get. I cannot get any of this brown glitter vinyl. I had a couple little teeny pieces of it that was enough to do this little project. Okay? So I can't get this for you right now. It is on back order. The other thing you could use would maybe be a kind of a gold tone glitter vinyl. That would work. So this is what this is supposed to look like, is a spice in the jar that we're going to make. The other thing you need is a little piece of clear, I don't know if you can see it, clear vinyl. This is going to be the jars. Okay? So I've got a little piece of clear vinyl. I buy this at Walmart. I usually buy the, Kimberbell has some too in packages. So I do so many projects, I usually buy it by the yard. And I buy it at Walmart, and it's like kind of a medium one. It's not the thinnest one, but it's like the 1 or 2 up from there. I like to have a little body, because then it doesn't melt too easily if I touch it with the iron, which I always seem to. So I have the clear vinyl. I have my 2 pieces of glitter. I just have some scraps that I'm using. And see, I've already taken off that plastic stuff that's on the top of it. Okay? And you need a piece of fabric. Now, if you're using a dark colored towel, like this one is red, you want to, and I wanted to use the white for the top. I don't want the red to show through my white. So what I did is I put 2 pieces of that shape flux ironed onto the back. That way it is more dense so that you don't have the bleed through from the dark color on the bottom. You know, the vinyl wash is okay. There's not very much on it, Denise. There's just a couple little small pieces, so I think it'll be fine. I haven't washed this, but, you know, I had to dip it the first time, and, I mean, it's fine. It gets a little bit, it's weird, it gets a little bit, like, it fogs over a little bit, but as soon as it dries, it clears off again. So it seems fine. I haven't really washed them in a washing machine, but I think they'll be okay. I'm not sure, they might get a little cool. Well, you know, it's not touching anything hot in the dryer. I would probably tell you not to dry them though. So, all right, so this is going to be my applique fabric, and this has 2 pieces then of shape flex on it so that the red polka dots won't bleed through. So if you don't have like the red polka dot towel, you could always use like a piece of green or red for your applique and just reverse it. So you don't have, then you wouldn't probably have to use, I might still put 1 piece on if I had like a light colored towel and a darker piece of fabric. But with the light one over this red, you need 2. Okay? So that's what else we had. I'm just trying to think what else was on this little tips thing I had written out. So I think I've got all that. Now, in the book, this is in these projects, so you know, start on, this is sugar and spice. This is the towel we're going to do. This one starts on page, oops, can't see the page number. Cut it off with my little spine. It must be 18 in the book. So the two towels are on page 18 and 19 in the book. But when you go to the back, if you go towards the back, then of course, just like the quilt, all of the little color charts are back here, and the color chart for this one is on page number 30, right here. So I wrote my colors in here so I remember what colors I wanted to use. Okay? All right, so is everybody ready? Here we go. We're going to make a towel. These are just so much fun. I love towels, and they're so much fun to hang up in the kitchen and stuff for Christmas. Okay, so I need to first do a placement line, and I think I used my white. Let's see, placement back. Oh, no, I used my moss green because I used moss green around the outside edge. So let me lay this here so I can see what I did. So I have my Brother Moss Green, which is 515, I believe. Color number 515. This is the one that likes to catch, so I have to watch this thread. It's getting kind of empty, so it's getting finicky. Okay, so we are going to do a placement line first, and this is going to show us where we're going to put our applique fabric. And the reason I did it in the green is that's the color I'm going to use around the outside edge, so I just did it in a matching color. I love doing applique. The applique is probably one of my favorite things. I do a lot of applique. Okay, so here's our placement line. We're going to lay our fabric down on top of that placement line. Make sure you get it all covered. Make sure I got it up high enough. And then we're going to tack it down. I'm going to tack it down with that same color so that when I go to do the satin stitch, it'll match underneath. It won't show. The satin stitch is very dense, but I always do that just because. I don't know a better way to say. I always like to use my tack down stitches be the same color as my satin stitches. Okay, now the one trick that they tell you to do is don't trim this fabric. The reason being is we're going to put a bunch of stuff in the center here, and if you trim it close to the stitches, it may try to pull away from the stitching. So we want to leave the fabric on here as this is, and we're going to trim it later. Okay, so now we're going to do, I don't know if you can see up here. I'll hold my towel up so you can see. There's a little spoon up here. So the next step is step number 3 on the machine, and it's going to be the little spoon. So I'm going to switch over here to silver. And while some of this is sewing, I'll show you a little bit of the finishing so you can kind of see, so you don't have to watch the whole thing sew, but it is really fun. This was a very, very fun project. So I'll have some extra towels. Actually, these are for Judy. She wanted some of the towels too. So we're going to do the little spoon first. I have to see what the next step is. Then we're going to do the jar. In a second here, I got this tail sticking up here. There we go. So I had to do some, like the other things you'll need for this particular towel, other than the applique materials that I already told you about, you will need, this one uses rickrack, so I got this cute little green rickrack, and I guess that's really it. It has the vinyl, and you can kind of see the vinyl there, and this is a little piece of that glitter vinyl, and there's glitter vinyl right here, okay, and then this rickrack is on the bottom. Now the other one, the gingerbread person, while this is sewing. This is all sewing. Of course, this is a little piece of that vinyl. You could use a lighter vinyl, or you could use a fabric on this one because it does have an outline. So a fabric would be fine too. You could use felt, whatever you'd like. I apologize, I can't get that brown vinyl right now. I had just a little piece of it in something else. And then this ruching is just 1-inch ribbon. So, and then I'm going to show you how I did the ruching. All right, so we got our little spoon done, and then the next step is the top of the jar, which I believe I made red. So we'll get the red out here. And red is number 800 in the brother. Equivalent Floriani would be probably about 702 or 703. And the silver is about the same color as in the Floriani would be about 483 probably. This is silver number 005, I think, that I used. I've been using the brother threads. If you haven't tried the brother threads, try some of the brother threads. They're really good, and I really like the results I get with them. And they're $1 cheaper than the Florianis, so. They're only $4.99 a spool. So this is the top of the jar. We're going to be getting into the applique here in a minute. Gotta find that. Look, there it is. Looking what I'm looking for. I love making Christmas stuff. I've actually gotten to make some Christmas things this year. Are you guys all making Christmas things too? Can you use the vinyl? Jan asked, can you use the vinyl from packages that things come in, or is it too heavy? Oh, you probably could, Jan. I guess I've always just bought like a yard or two of vinyl at Walmart or someplace like that you use for tablecloths. And then Kimberbell does have vinyl also. I have the packages on the website. You can get clear, pinks and reds, and greens and blues. So I have them on the website if you need vinyl. Looks like I have another little tail sticking up there. Oh, must have one more little thing to do. But I've had a really great day. I've been just sitting and sewing all day, and I've been working on Christmas presents. And I always try to make at least one thing for my dad. He likes it when I make him things, so I usually try to make one thing for him. Last year he got a Cubs rug. This year he's getting the Hello Winter to put on his little stand. So I've got to get this little tail out of there. Okay. Now the next step is going to be the it's going to be the placement line for the first piece of glitter vinyl, which is going to be the sugar. And so I'm going to put the white in to do that. And white Floriani is what? 801? 800. 800. And then in white in the brother is 001. It's really sad that I remember these numbers, isn't it? My bobbin is just white. It's just the plain white bobbin thread that I always use. So just your regular bobbin thread. Lynn asked what the bobbin thread was. Okay, so there's my placement line. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'll try to get a little closer. You probably can't see it because it's white. So I just made a little placement line. Second here. For some reason, my machine wants to leave a little tail. It's probably because this is really thick. Now I'm going to place my glitter over that placement line. And they tell you to tape it, but I usually can just hold it. I do kind of watch my hands. This piece is pretty small. But it saves me time having to tape it. And now we're going to trim the glitter close to the stitches. And this is white glitter with a little silver speckle in it. And I keep my scraps, because you know a lot of these Kimberbell projects don't need very much glitter. So I keep all those scraps in a little bucket so I don't, you know, have to cut into a great big piece. So I'm just going to trim around this. And I'm trimming with my, put this down a little bit. Trimming with my little double curved scissors here. Makes it easier. And there is going to be an outline on this, so you don't need to be like super perfect because it is going to cover it up, but it is going to be more of a motif stitch, so you want to make sure it's fairly close. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Yep. All right. Got a little piece sticking out there. There we go. Okay. Now, normally, at this point, after we put vinyl down, glitter vinyl, down, they tell you to take it, you know, to your ironing mat with your little iron, like this. I love my little iron, okay? And press that down with a pressing cloth. But in this case, they recommended in the instructions to not do that so that the jar looks full. So it will pucker a little bit up, and I don't know if you can see it here, but it makes it look kind of puckered, or it's not really puckered, but it looks a little poofy in the center and here. So it makes the jar look full of whatever is in the jar. So you do not have to iron this down. You don't have to press it down with the pressing cloth. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to go on to the next step, which is the decorative outline. So that's one of the different things about this one. Let's get there we go. So it's a little decorative outline. It's kind of a little, like a little motif stitch. Now the one thing I noticed about mine, and I don't know if you can see it in this one. Now see, it's not doing it in this one. It must have been this towel. I've had two different types of towels. Can you see that my decorative stitch looks slightly pink? I think it's pulling up color from the towel. Now this one, yeah, it's just a little bit like that too. And I couldn't figure out a way to get around it, so you know what? My sugar has a slightly pink outline. It must be pulling up some pigment, I would guess, from the towel. So this one's not as bad as the other ones were. Okay. So there is my first piece of applique with the glitter. Now the next step is number 8. This one's going to be a placement line for the little piece of brown glitter. Or you could use fabric. You could use kind of a gold glitter, kind of a darker gold glitter too. That would work really well. So I'm going to put in my brown thread. My brown thread that I'm using is called Hazelnut. 1309 is the brother. So something probably similar in Floriani would be about 739 or 749 maybe. Maybe 7 or 78, 79.86. Something kind of a chocolatey brown. So we'll put the brown in here to do the placement line. So this is going to be a placement line for our little piece of brown glitter. I suppose this is supposed to be the spice. We had sugar and spice, so I suppose this is supposed to be the spice. Okay. For some reason, my machine wants to put that little tail, but I have a feeling it's because this is so stiff. Okay. Then I'm going to go, then what does it say to do? It says to place the glitter. So I'm going to place my little piece of glitter, and I'm just going to hold it. You can tape it if you'd like. I'm just going to hold it. And it's going to do the tack down line, which is number 9 on the machine. Still using the brown. Now we're going to trim it close to the stitches. And again, we're going to try to get as close as possible, just like we did with the last one. Because there is going to be a little decorative stitch around this. I'm going to keep that little piece because I might be able to use it again. white wasn't very big. I have, like I said, I have a little box that I keep all these little pieces in, so I can use them for these little projects later, because you know the glitter vinyl is kind of expensive, so I like to use up as much of it as I can. Oops, sorry, I keep bumping the camera here. All right, so there's our little piece of spice. Now the next part, number 10, is going to be the decorative outline. So put this back in, we'll do the decorative outline. Again, this one, we are not going to do, we're not going to press it down with the pressing cloth like we normally do, because they said it would make it look more dimensional if you don't press it down. So I didn't press this one down either. Now I did press down and it tells you in the instructions to do that, the little gingerbread man. So he's pressed down to the fabric, okay? Oh, cool. Thanks, Colleen. Colleen said there's a few people online that still have some Love Notes kits. I just don't, the way they sounded, they didn't sound like they were going to have any more. So that's kind of why I bought that big box of fabric, because then I knew I would have fabric for some of these projects, because you rarely need more than a fat quarter of anything. And if I needed more, I can always order like a yard piece or a half yard piece for like borders or whatever. So, or just introduce some other fabrics into it. But that's why I bought that box, because then I figured I could do, you know, a lot of that. So, okay. So now we're on step number 11, and this is going to be the jar tack down, but we need to put the vinyl over the top. So just a second here. Drop my scissors on the floor. Okay, so this is the jar tack down. I want to read my instructions here, because I think what it does is it goes around, yeah, let's look at the design on the machine. See, it goes around both jars. There's a jar for the little spice and a jar for the sugar, okay? So we need to have a big enough piece that'll go over both of those, because it's going to do both of them at the same time. And I believe I use silver for that. So I'm going to sew my vinyl down with the silver. Now, the one thing with the vinyl, I've struggled with vinyl. Kimberbell does put a fair amount of vinyl on their things. You have to be ultra careful not to touch it with an iron. That's why I buy the thicker stuff, because it does work a little bit better, because it isn't quite so sensitive to the heat. I mean, if I get an iron close, it doesn't like melt it instantly. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm covering the whole area for my spice jar and my sugar jar. So I'm going to make sure I've got this plenty up here. And I might actually go ahead and tape this one down, because vinyl likes to scoot on me. So we'll go ahead and tape that down. And I think we've got it all covered. Okay, make sure I got the clipper down. And then this is done with the silver. And it's just going to be the tack down. That's going to go around both of the jars, and it's going over then that glitter vinyl we used. Yeah, so that's, yeah, Colleen, that's good. I think if people just go, if you really want to kit a 4 Love Notes, it came in a box. If you give me a second while this is stitching, I'll go get the box. I've got empty boxes. And I've got the embellishment kits and the books. So I can get the books and the embellishment kits, but this was the box that the little fabric kit came in, okay? And so there might be some people out there that still have these. But I have the books on the website and the embellishment kits on the website. The books, I don't think I have my book here. Here's the embellishment kit. I don't have the book here. But they're both, but this is the embellishment kit. They have a lot of embellishments for this one, so I'm anxious to try it. I think it's going to be really fun. So those are up on the website. So you can get those from us, and then maybe you can find a fabric kit if you want it, or if you decide you want the box of fabrics, since we'll be doing some other projects, you can always let me know, and I'll order those for you. So that's my next project to start is love notes. I'm just trying to finish up a couple of our Christmas things, and then I'm going to start love notes. I'll make sure I put up some of the I'll put up my progress so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll get the classes all up there so you know exactly when we're going to do what. So I'm very excited to start it. I did have a few people do it as the mystery quilt this summer, but most people that got it actually didn't have a chance to do it, like me. So I'm anxious to do it. Okay, so we've done the vinyl tack down, and all it is just a triple stitch. You go ahead and untape this. And then what it says to do is to trim the vinyl. So you want to trim your vinyl about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. You know, you want it to be fairly close, but just don't cut through your stitches. This is going to be basically raw edge applique. Give me a second, I need to put my glasses on. I think everything's too close to the same color tonight. Trim close as I can get. I usually get about 1/8 of an inch away. I don't like to get too close because I don't want to trim through my stitches. And you want it to be fairly smooth because, you know, it is going to be raw edge on there. So these little scissors with these little tips really help a lot. So if you don't have these, I'd recommend them. They're up on the website. These are Ginger 6-inch double curved embroidery scissors. And I have some 4-inch ones up there, I think, too, that are Havels, and those are pretty good, too, if you like a smaller scissor. I have a little harder time with those, so I usually use these longer ones. So we're going to trim around these jars. I'm trying to stay as close as I can. I'm kind of getting... I have to kind of flip it around. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. But yeah, so I ordered more of the Love Notes books and embellishment kits, and they should be here in a couple of days. I ordered them last week, so there'll be some of those if you want those. The quilt's adorable. I had a lot of people say, oh, I don't know that I'd ever want to do that, but after I saw it, it was another one, just like We Whisk You, Merry Christmas, that after I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Because I'm not a baker, so I thought, oh, I'll never want to do that one. It's all baking stuff. But it was so cute when I saw it. This is a little tough in here to get that trim because there's a little tight space in here. So I had trouble before, so getting around here. There we go. It's getting there. Everybody doing okay? I haven't lost anybody. Anybody else got any other questions? Well, I'm trimming. It takes me a little bit to do the trimming. Sorry, guys. Okay, got that one done. Yeah, looks pretty good. See if I got them all kind of even here. I have a hard time trimming the vinyl. I don't feel like I do a very good job at trimming the vinyl. But without doing the, whoops, sure I don't get this stuck in there. Without doing the ironing, I don't know if you can see. Can you see how this makes the jars look more like they're bulging? they're full. So it looks kind of cool. Okay, so now step number 12 on the machine is going to be it's the top of this little jar, and it's green. I made mine a kind of a light green. It's kind of a light mossy green. I'm using the Brother thread, and it's called leaf green. It's one of the old original colors, number 027. So that's the one I'm using. And I'm also going to use the Brother thread on the Love Notes, and I have I found a paper when it first came out in August, some thread color numbers, and I will put that up as soon as I can to the group, and I'll put it up in the file section so you can download it. Oh, I'm sure it did look fine, Julie, without putting the vinyl on. I will put that up because I have my brother colors because I matched them, and then there's Floriani on there, Isacord on there, Exquisite, so that probably will cover most of the threads that you guys are using, and so I'll put that up there so that you have I'll also have the all the color numbers up there for all the different brands, as many as I can get you. So I'll put up I'll probably just put that up on the file section so you can download it, because I finally found a really good copy of it. So I'll put that up for Love Notes. Okay, so let's go ahead and thread the needle here. We'll do the top of the jaw. Maybe, whoops, I forgot to put the flipper down again. There you go. Sure I didn't get the towel stuck underneath. I've done that before too. So yeah, so I can't get the kit, I can't get the fabric kits, but I have the books and I have the embellishment kits on the website. And they will be in shortly. I've already sold some, so I had to order more, but they will be in probably in a couple of days. And now we're gonna move on to the words. I'm gonna do sugar and spice, and I did those in red. So I'm going back to my 800 red. I think the embellishment kits are $29.95, and the books I think are $69.95, as I remember. That's pretty typical for most of the quilts are more than that. Most of the quilts are $79.95 for the quilts and the CD. So I thought that wasn't too bad. So we're going to do sugar and spice. So while this is stitching, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the finishing of these, so that so you won't be watching it sew the whole time. So when I did the finishing on this one that we're doing right now, this one just has a piece of rickrack, and I found the rickrack, of course, I find a lot of stuff at Walmart, so I found the rickrack at Walmart. You can use any kind of trim. You could use ribbon, whatever you wanted. I just thought the rickrack was cute. So I put this green rickrack on. I believe it told you to measure from the bottom. Let me go back to the instructions here. It said to measure from the bottom 1 3/8 inches from the bottom, and then I marked it with a Frixion pen. So what worked good for me is I measured 1 3/8 up, and I took my Frixion pen. So I have a black one here somewhere. And this is something else that I need to put on the website. I've actually started using these. I didn't think I liked them, but once I started using them, I actually kind of like them. So they have a pack you can buy. You can get a black, a pink, and like a blue one, because so for different colors of fabric. But this is a Frixion pen, and it's like a gel pen sort of. And so I just marked my towel, and then after I put my I just took some, I took my Collins tape, or my Dritz, my Dritz two-sided tape, double sticky tape, like this, that we used for starting over. I took this and I laid it right along the line, and then I stuck my, actually, you know what, I didn't for this one. I used my little glue stick, because the tape was going to show, my rickrack wasn't very wide, so I didn't want to have that Collins tape showing, or the double sticky tape showing. So for this one, I used my little glue pen. And I have these at the store too. These are those little small glue sticks that they're easier to know where your glue stick's going. So I marked my Frixion pen, I marked my line with my Frixion pen, and then I just took my glue stick, and then I glued my rickrack down with this all the way across, and then I could just stitch across it with a straight stitch. And that worked really well for me, for this one. So this one was really easy. So yeah, so this one I glued it down so it wouldn't move on me. And then the other one I used the double sticky tape, and I'll show you, because that one's wider, so I'll show you how I do the ruching. Does that make sense to everybody about the embellishment on this? So you just measure up from the bottom. I drew my line. I took my little glue stick and then stuck my rickrack down and then sewed across it. So that was very simple. And you can see I just, on my rickrack, I just kind of sewed, I don't know if you can see the stitches, I just tried to stay right down the middle and sewed between the bumps. Okay? So that's how this was embellished. And then you actually wrap the ends over the back, like this. You just wrap the ends over, and I think I glued those down, and then I just sewed over the ends like that. And that's on both sides. Okay? So that was a very simple little trim to put on this one. All right. So the next color is the word and. I have to remember what color I did. I think I did the light green on this one. So we'll change the color and do the light green. And that was my leaf green. Yeah, I think Marcia said something about the fabric kits. I think I took the fabric kits down off of our website. They were cheaper on our website than the $75. That's above retail. I think they're doing that because people want them and they can't get them anymore. So I know that a lot of places that still have them, they may be more than they were. They were $69.95. But I don't have any more and I can't get them. If they're still on the website, don't order them because I can't get them. I thought I took them down. So. Okay, so this is and then the next step is going to be the black. And I'm going to do my lettering in black that says make the holidays nice. So we're going to do this in black right here. Okay? I find my black thread. And then we'll talk about ruching while that is sewn. I love making ruching. I never thought I'd make it, but I'm going to tell you how I do it. I kind of cheat. I don't like to hand stitch. So we'll talk about how I do it. I am kind of lazy when it comes to hand stitching, everybody, as you well know. And I like to do everything with the sewing machine, so I do the ruching with that too. Here's the black, so we're going to put the black in and then we'll talk about ruching. All right, you can make ruching out of fabric. You can make ruching out, and this particular one, they made it out of ribbon. And it was 1-inch ribbon. All right, just a second here, I'm gonna get a hold of my ruching. Okay, so while this is stitching the letters, it takes a little bit. I'm gonna talk about my ruching. So what I did, this is 36 inches long. Oh, I bet it does, Julie. Yeah, I just usually sew right down the middle, but I bet the serpentine would work really well. And it would be somewhat decorative on it as well. That's a really cool tip, Julie, thank you. So what I did with this is I cut my 1-inch ribbon, 36 inches long, and I pulled my bobbin thread up. So they tell you in the instructions to hand stitches. You'll put your thread in here and then you hand stitch up. And what you do, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if we can focus on it. I don't know if you can or not. Can you see the stitches? You do like a zigzag, up and back, up and down, like this to do ruching, okay? So what I did, though, because I'm lazy, is I turned my ends over like this. And I started in the corner, but I pulled up my bobbin thread. So I had two long threads here, okay? So I pulled the bobbin thread up so that I could pull it, all right? Then I took my sewing machine with a very long stitch. And I set my stitch length, just a straight stitch with the needle in the center, to number 5, which is the longest stitch you can do, so it's sort of like a baste. And then I went down and up, and down and up, in a V pattern, in a X pattern like this, down and up, a V pattern, I should say, okay? And I did that all the way down. So when you do this with the machine, you do have to be a little careful when you go to pull your threads, because, you could break your thread. But I would tell you to use a good, strong, like Metler, polyester thread. That's not going to break too easy. Don't use heavy-duty thread or anything. Just use a good quality polyester thread, okay? And then what ruching is, when you do that basting stitch up and down like a V pattern, it makes it gather, but it makes it gather unevenly like this. And they do a lot of ruching on different things. I've never done it with the ribbon. I've always done it with fabric. They do the ruching on like their, I did like, oh, Hello Sunshine. and they did it on all the watermelon rinds. And remember the cute little watermelon table runner I made last summer? That one, it had the ruching on the watermelons. And that one was done with fabric, but it's so cute. Isn't that darling? And this is done with 1-inch ribbon. So then, when you go to pull this, okay, you just have to be very careful when you pull this. And just, I usually pull from both, I usually pull from one end, and I often tie the other end. I'm not going to pull the whole thing tonight, but you can see as I pull, and you just kind of work it through, and just be careful. See how it gathers it up in that V pattern, and then you've got this cute, second here, so I don't get a hold of it. You have this cute little V pattern and all these little, looks like little petals almost on the ribbon. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to gather this up until you get it to be the width of your towel. Okay? You just keep going until you get it all gathered up until it's the side width of your towel. Like that. And then I tied the ends, you know, so that they wouldn't, I won't do the whole thing, but you can see what I'm doing. But you do have to be careful when you do this with the machine, because you've got a single thread in here, and I just have to be careful when I'm working with it, okay? And yes, I had broken it and had to start over again. But I just love ruching, and with the sewing machine, I hate hand sewing. I'm just not a good hand sewer, and it takes me so long to do it that I thought, well, there's got to be a way I can do this with a sewing machine. So I just tried it, and it worked just fine. Okay? So there's my ruching. Okay? And I'll just keep going all the way to the other end. There's a lot to do. Okay? And then you're going to make it the width of your towel. You're going to make it the width of your towel. And see, I turned under the ends on that. And here, I just took it to the end of the towel. Okay, and I just gathered it up until it fit across the bottom. Now, they told you on the instructions, I need to look at my instructions for this one. I think I made they put the, let's see. They put the ruching 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Really low on the towel. I wanted mine a little higher, so I think I did mine 1.5 inches. I marked my line 1.5 inches up, and I think I used my Frixion pen. So I measured up 1.5 inches and used my Frixion pen and made a line across there. Okay, and this is what I used my double sticky tape for. I laid that double sticky tape along that line, and then I took my ruching after I had it all prepared, and I just stuck it down to the tape on the towel. And then they just have you stitch, and I don't know if you can see on mine. And you want to use matchy thread, because you're going to see this thread. So see, I've got real matchy thread. I was real careful to try to find the best batch I can get. And then you want because the ruching's going to show too, but then they just had you stitch down the center of it. But with it stuck down with that Collins tape or with that double sticky Dritz tape, it just really made it very simple. Then it didn't move around on me, and I could just stitch right down to the bottom. Okay? So that's the ruching. Isn't that fun to do? And they do other things with ruching. They have quite a few little projects with it. So, okay, so we got our black done here for the letters. So now we need to trim. So because I remember I told you don't trim this until we're ready to do the outline. So now we're ready to trim. This is a little harder to trim because it has, 2 layers of that shake flex on it. So it's a little bit harder to trim. It's a little thick. So we'll trim around this. But yeah, the ruching with you doing the basting stitch on the sewing machine is so, I didn't use the basting stitch. I used a regular straight stitch set to 5. So it's just a long, the basting stitch is just way too long. So I don't usually use the basting stitch. It's way too long. Okay, so I'm just going to trim around this. Try not to cut your towel. I've done that before. I think I've done every stupid thing there is to do with an embroidery machine. And I'm sure I'll find some more stupid things to do with one. Okay, we get around this. And that's why you want to leave this on here, because there was an awful lot of stitching in here, wasn't there? So if you trimmed this earlier, it may have all pulled away from the stitching. All right, I'm getting closer here. I wonder where my little shadow ended up. I've lost my cat. She seems to like my bed now. So do you remove the zigzag stitch after you get it? So no, I don't. I leave it. That's why you want to make it very matchy thread, Jan. You leave your ruching stitch in there. So there's 2 stitches. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get it a little closer. There's 2 lines in there. With the thread being so matchy, you don't see it. But you do want to make sure you match your fabric or your ribbon, as close as possible, so you don't really see it, okay? But no, I left it in, and then you just stitch it down. All right, so we got that trimmed, and let's see, I think I did this in the dark green, yeah. So the next step is going to be the satin stitch. Sure didn't get the towel under there. Okay, get my other green. This is my moss green again. I just thought these were adorable. I like towels. They're nice gifts for people. You know, most of us don't ever wash these really to speak of anyway. We put them on our stoves or whatever for Christmas, and they're just for looks, right? You don't want to get them dirty, and you don't want them to be beautiful anymore. So yeah, I don't really wash this type of towels much. Okay, so we're going to do the satin stitch outline. Does anybody need me to do some more ruching for them? Would you like me to do a little more ruching so you can see how I'm doing it? And I've got, so what I usually do is I am going to go ahead down at the other end. So like what I do at the other end is I tie this in a knot. I'm going to have to put my glasses on so I can see. And I tie this in a knot so I don't pull out the threads, you know, because I've also done that. Because I like to try to pull from one end, because then it's usually more uniform that way. If you try to pull from both ends, then in the middle it'll get a little weird. So I tied a knot in the right hand end. I'm working from the left hand, you know, I'm a lefty, so. Alright, so we'll pull this a little bit more. And you just have to be careful not to break it, but just, you know, just work it down slowly. And it's still a pretty good sized towel, so, you know, it doesn't have to be super tight. But it's so cute. It's such a cute technique. And I've never done this before, and when I did the Hello Sunshine quilt a couple summers ago, I had never done any ruching, and that's how they did all of the watermelons. So you do the little, and that was done with fabric though instead of ribbon. But oh my gosh, they're so cute. Just adorable. Kimberbell is known for their embellishments. They do just darling embellishments. And I've never really been an embellisher, so it's been really fun to learn embellishment because, you know, they just do so many different things. There's my ruching. It's coming along. I'll just keep going so that I'm working down the end. And when I get down to the end, I got to make sure then that's the right length for the width of the towel. So it's, you know, pretty good. They don't need to be too super gathered. So see, I'll have to make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, I have to do the other end, but they don't have to be real tight. But this seems to work the best for me because then I don't have to sit there with a hand needle. Now, if you like to hand stitch, that's another way to do it. You just do the same thing. You just go back and forth. I don't know if you can see the stitches here. Go back and forth in a V like that, and then just do it with the hand stitch instead. But this has always worked well for me, and I don't have to hand stitch then, so it goes a lot faster. Okay. Any questions about the rickrack trim? The rickrack trim. You do flip it over on the back, so like here and they tell you in the instructions to do this. You know, take it over the edge and put it to the back like this. So I've got it on both ends. Okay, and I did glue it down on the front and the back with that little glue stick because that was a lot easier. Then it didn't move on me. These are really cute towels. I thought about doing this one on the stripe one. Do you think that'd be cute too? Oh yeah, wasn't that fun, Kathy? Kathy must have gotten the bell, or did you watch it? Did you get the Bella box? Kimberbell just did a thing, and it's up on YouTube if you haven't seen it, called Stitched. And they get all of their folks together from their office, and they do a video, and they have a contest for the people that work there, and they make projects with Kimberbell products. And oh my gosh, it was adorable. I had to vote for the gnome, though. I tell you, it was so cute. So if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and you'll find it. It's on their YouTube channel, and it's called Stitched. And those of us that had bought the Bella box then get special designs also. So and there are still some Bella boxes left for the winter, I guess. So, but the Bella boxes are really super fun to make. That was some of those things that I showed you at the beginning. I was making out of my spring one. I haven't started my winter one yet, so I'm still working on spring. Okay, let's see. So we talked about the ruching. Does everybody understand how that works now? I got mine. Yep. Carol, I like to sit and watch their YouTube. In fact, that's what I've been doing today. I go to the Kimberbell YouTube channel on my TV because I can go on my TV, and then I'll just sit and watch Kimberbell, like their Tuesday tips all day. I'll just listen to them all day, and I pick up all kinds of stuff. You voted for the gnome too, Colleen? Yeah, I thought it was awfully cute. So, like their rules this year, they had a blank, and they had to use the blank, and then they had to use certain items that they picked, and they had all these rules. Is there a way to do the ruching on the serger? I don't think so. I don't think so, because you can do something like ruching, but you can use the gathering stitch down the center, but I don't think you could do the zigzag unless you just did a straight stitch. I don't think so. I've done ruching. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, sort of. What I've done with the serger is I've done like 2 lines that you can pull with the cover stitch side, and then but it wouldn't be like this. It would be straight. So yes, there is kind of a thing that's sort of like ruching, but it's not. It doesn't show up like this. It's more straight on the. And I think they consider it ruching also on the serger. But yes, I have done that on the serger. So you use 2 lines down the middle with the cover stitch, like a straight stitch, like the cover stitch, and then you can pull it. Yeah, I have never, I didn't think about it, but yeah, there would be, that would be another way, but it's going to look different than this one, because this one has the V's in it. So that was a good question. Okay, so we have, let's see, what else did I need to tell you about? We talked about love notes. So love notes will start in January, so any of your stuff is up on the website, so if you want to sew along with us, let me know if you want one of those cool boxes full of fabric, because my gosh, does that saved my life, because now I have everything I need to make basically anything I want. And let's see, that'll start the 10th. Oh no, the software class will be the 10th. I haven't decided what software is going to be. Haven't decided yet. And then we'll do love notes for maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And then we will do a purse. So I'm going to do one of the purses out of the purse class book. Haven't decided which one yet. I think I'm either going to make the tote bag, that cool tote bag that has the big clasp on it, or the 50s purse. Haven't decided which one yet. That'll be through February then, pretty much. And then I think at the end of February we'll have a scan and cut class. So I think that's where I'm kind of at now. I've got it kind of figured out, but Okay, we got our satin stitch outline, and the last step on this, get that, is going to be, they always like to do this. I love the look of it. They put a little straight triple stitch through the middle of the satin stitch. So the satin stitch is fairly wide, and then they put this little triple stitch, straight stitch through the center, which is very cute. I've done that on a couple of my pillows too. I like the look of it. And I'm going to do that in white. And then we will be done. And you know, I got to get these up on the website. So if you're interested in Frixion pens, if you don't have them, they have these nice packages you can get. I think I might even have a package here. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure where I put it. They have these nice packages of free. So I thought these would be a good thing to add to the website. So there's a black, a blue, and a red. So I thought those were good colors, and you can get 3 of them. Can't remember how much they are, of course. So that might be something we add to the website soon. Got the Shape Flex up there, and it's in stock now. What else is up there? That was new, but I will, like I said, yeah, a lot of the companies do this. This is very, very common now, that they put the little straight stitch in here. It's very cute. Make your zigzag wider, you made your satin stitch wider. Turns out really cute. So that is the little towel. Isn't that cute? All right, so let's take this out so you can see me take the stabilizer out. I'm just going to pop this open. I like the thing I like about Kimberbell, a lot of their stuff is done in small hoops. So most of their stuff doesn't take, hours and hours and hours to sew out. So I'm just going to take off as much of this as I can possibly take off. That Wet and Gone, or the Stitch and Wash, or this is the Dime, which is called Tear and Wash, is actually, you can see it rips off really easily. And then what I do with the center then is I want to get as much of this off of the center as I can, so I just take the tip of my scissors and take as much of this out of here as I can, and then you don't really have much stabilizer, but see, it's under the stitching then. It's under the stitching. So I take off as much as I possibly can, and then when I wash this, if I have to wash this, what little is showing will actually wash away. Oh, cool. So, okay, so you can get Frixion pens in other colors too. I found that you can get pastel colors. Cool. Yeah, so I just saw this set. I thought it'd be nice because it just had several pens in it. A lot of them are individual, or I have to buy like this huge, great big box of pens. Now, Tim might have a little more of a problem with that than a few packages, so we may try the package first. But I've been using them on, what I've been using them for, the reason I started using them is I also want to do a Claudia's Creations design. And though she does a lot of marking, and if you use water-soluble pens on that, everything disappears so fast that you can't get it, you can't get it hooped without having the markings done. So like I said, I'm just going to take this stabilizer out, and I'll finish this up after class. But take as much of the stabilizer out as I can, and then when you wash it, it will, this is supposed to be partially water-soluble, so it will wash away. And you will hardly have any stabilizer showing. But the stabilizer is still under the letters and still under the design, so that when you wash it, it doesn't come up out in a ball. So that's why I like the stabilizer for towels. I mean, it still gives you stabilizer so that it turns out nice and they stay nice, instead of having it all wash away. Because I really, as you can see, this one's nice and flat, and this is the one I did with the water soluble. Can you see how wrinkly that patch is? I was quite disappointed because I knew I had my gut reaction it was going to do that, but as soon as you rinse it out, everything just goes like this. So anyway, I use that water-soluble tearaway. That works pretty well, and all of my recipe towels I did that way too. So, and they wash up real nice. They don't roll up in a ball, and that as you wash them, more and more of the stuff comes off. So, okay, so. I'm very excited to get started for the new year. So can you believe we're going to have a month off? But I will have stuff up on the group so you can see some of the stuff that I'm working on and stuff. So we won't be completely silent for a month. And please put up pictures of the things you're working on, your towels, your quilts, whatever you're working on. Please put it up on the group because everybody wants to see. And I wish everybody the merriest of holidays. So we won't see each other for a little bit. on Sunday night, but now we can all get our Christmas presents done, right? And that's what I'm going to be working on for the next few weeks to get everything done. And for Christmas, only 2 weeks left, right? And maybe almost three. It's almost three. But I'll get all my Christmas presents done for on my Sundays because that's the only day I really have time to sew. And I will get love notes going. That's the next thing. So if you have any questions, text me, Facebook me, call me at the store. And yeah, and so everybody enjoy the holidays. I know that this is not the optimal situation we have right now, but you know what? It's what we have, and I'll still enjoy myself. I'm making Christmas things. I'm making things for my dad. I get to see my dad, so that's important to me. And it will be very fun, and I hope everybody has a really good holiday. Stay safe, everybody. You know, we still have a lot going on, so please stay safe and healthy. And I will see you in the new year. So thank you, everybody. Have a good evening, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, everybody.